Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and our estimated guests from GCC and Iraq and everywhere. My name is Mustafa. I am the Scientific and Regulatory Affairs Manager with Coca-Cola Company, Middle East and North Africa. In our last session and last day, we hope this session will be as much insightful as per the yesterday presentations. As highlighted in yesterday's presentation, we highlighted the role of the importance of having a good relationship between the food and beverage industry stakeholders, in particularly between the food and beverage and logistic and the regulatory authority. This, we call it in our company, our leadership, they describe it like a golden triangle to engage all these stakeholders together between the academia and the government and the industry to have a better outcome to ensure the consumer trust. Now, the objective of today's session is to give the opportunity of our guests from Iraq, from the key regulatory authority in Iraq, to share with us the key challenges and their vision in Iraq standard organization, and to allow you to raise your question and get your question answered if you have any challenges in this very important market. Now, joining us today as a representative from GCC, as highlighted by Mr. Kim, Mr. Nabil Rabki. Mr. Nabil Rabki has more than 30 years of experience with Iraq standard and quality control. Mr. Nabil do have a master's degree in food technology, and he wrote many research and he conducted many research and paper about food and beverage, and many of them were recognized by different credible organizations. Also, we have with us Mr. Nihad Sadoun. He is the quality manager of quality control and standardization. Mr. Nihad also, he got a master's degree in chemistry, food chemistry, and also he is a member of the National Codex Committee of Iraq. Now, kicking off the discussion today, I kindly ask Mr. Nihad to come and share with us his presentation.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great opportunity to meet you here in Dubai. I would like to address you today about a brief review about Iraq food logistics. Rapid developments in food processing and the potential food safety problems that come with them make standardization in the food industry particularly vital for avoiding these problems, performing effective monitoring and achieving the goal of food free of contamination, deterioration, or damage. Consequently, standardization leads to the protection of consumers' health and budget. Monitoring food products and the fresh vegetable and the fruits exported to Iraq is the responsibility of several bodies, namely and their duties: Ministry of Health, which measure validity for human consumption of food products; Central Organization for Standardization and Quality Control, COCQC, conformity assessment according to relevant Iraqi standards; Ministry of Trade, conformity assessment of food imports to Iraq to ration card; Ministry of Environment, monitoring contamination of foods with radiation; Ministry of Agriculture, monitoring the imported fresh vegetables and fruits; and Ministry of Finance for customs fees. The central organization strives to keep the standards it issues in the line with the international standards issued by the Codex Alimentarius Commission, the Codex, and the International Organization for Standardization, ISO. It is worth here to mention that every document the organization publishes, from reference manuals to standard specifications, is done through technical advisory committees made up of specialists representing all concerned parties. Thus, materials are only published after bringing together the entire viewpoint and reaching agreement. Due to increased exports to Iraq, COCQC started a program called Pre-Import Inspection, Testing, and Certification Program of Goods, ICIGI, in order to inspect goods in the country of origin before importing. This program accelerated the exports to Iraq since the beginning at 2011. Currently, 4 companies are conducting the duties of this program, namely Bureau Veritas, TUV, Baltic Control, and Cotica. COSCQC authorized these companies to conduct conformity assessment procedures on goods exported to Iraq according to relevant Iraqi standards or technical requirements in the country of origin before the export of goods to Iraq. The program includes a wide range of items to be tested, includes food and food products and its raw material, except fresh vegetables and fruits, chemical products such as cosmetics, detergents, plastic pipelines, paint, etc., textiles such as woven wool and blended blankets, construction materials such as cement, engineering materials such as electric ovens, fluorescent and tungsten lamps, electric dish washers, etc. The program aims to import goods with proper quality to protect the consumers, protecting consumers' health and safety, and also protecting the environment, ensure fast release of goods from customs after fulfill other requirements required by other bodies, such as Ministry of Health, which measure validity for human consumption, prevent low-quality goods from entering local markets, prevent adulteration, imitation, and other bad practices. The companies conducting the program have offices around the world. COSCQC issued a guide, contains a summary about the program, addresses of companies involved, list of products covered, and their relevant standards to be applied. Also, a description of how to apply a request to export to Iraq, the documents needed, fees collected by companies, and other useful information. The guide is available now in Arabic only and can be downloaded from the official site of COSCQC at the following address. It is COSCQC at coscqc.government.iq. Unfortunately, the guide is in Arabic only, not in English. It hasn't been translated yet. Thank you for listening.
To draw attention of the logistic companies that we need actually reliable service in Iraq. Maybe here in Dubai you will find many alternative. But in Iraq, there is few, and most of the companies feel lack of support in Iraq. Regarding your session, I want to highlight points, and maybe you can elaborate more on it. First of it is that we feel that there is a, let's say, lag time between when you issue a regulation and we know about it. So when there is a change, we know it from that either the shipment blocked at the border or from the inspection company while they request from them to inspect and issue COC, they inform us that there is a new requirement and sorry, we cannot issue the COC. So we don't have any lead time between the issuing of a new regulation or change in regulation and the implementation.
You mean the implementation of the regulation when they issue, right?
Exactly. Maybe there is a lead time, but what we don't have right channel to know. So we know when the either from the inspection company when they come to inspect the goods, they said sorry, we have a new requirement from COSC. They inform us that there is now the, let's say, change shelf life, change labor requirement, change chemical component, we need this new analysis, etc. The other way, when the goods are at the border, sometimes we know that there is, come up to our knowledge that there is a new requirement.
After a regulation has been changed, when they change a certain regulation, they gave the importers some time to adapt this change happened. If a shelf life is changed, The change will take place after 2 or 3 months. So it will not take place at once.
We deal with different authority in the region. For example, taking the example of GSO, they have a mechanism where they do communicate any new legislation at the final stage with the World Trade Organization. And then at the World Trade Organization, all the industry globally will know about this standard, and then they will prepare themselves. So do you have such mechanism in your estimated organization?
This mechanism you talk about is about the countries in the WTO.
Yes.
Iraq is still as an observer in WTO until yet.
Is there any plan to be engaged?
Some information you can get from the inspection companies.
From the inspection companies?
Inspection companies, yes.
Yeah. In reality, actually...
They are informed about everything
in advance.
Yeah, but when you mention when you mention 2 to 3 months for international companies
for implementation.
Yeah, for implementation.
Yes.
When you inform 3 months for companies with complicated supply chain with suppliers from around the world, it will be very difficult because they already have their shipment on the way, and they have some packaging material in the factory. They have raw material, formula. This need actually we need more time to be able to comply with the new rules. Yes. So my request from you is if there is a way to extend this time to be at least similar to the region, 6 months, and actually it should be more.
We are in the COSQC are flexible about these things, and the regulations or the standards we issue most of the time is in the line of with Codex or GSO or other neighboring country. So if someone has some problem with this, he apply to the central organization.
First, thank you very much for this brief and giving the opportunity to ask questions. Actually, I'm working for a pharmaceutical, for a food industry. I'm working for Mondelez, and you said something about the inspections company, and they're aware about the any changes in the regulations. I mean. How we can be sure that they have the latest information, because recently we were facing like some issues. They are not aware about the new regulations, or they have like a circular issued many years back from the Iraqi authorities, and they are just saying no. They don't because they have like regulations, but they cannot.
They cannot be assured that this is the latest update, right?
Yes.
Okay. As far as I know, they are given the last update. Mm-hmm. As far as I know, because we do a lot of work with the inspection companies. Okay. They are working on behalf of central organization. In the matter of conformity assessment, according to Iraqi standards.
Okay, and another question. Is there any possibility of, interacting with the food industry companies in terms of updating the standards? Because as an example, UAE here as a ISMA, they have like a technical committee, including all manufacturers company and also municipalities like Dubai municipality, etc. So is there any possibility to do the same in Iraq?
To do,
I mean, like to be more involved. To involve the industries in terms of regulations, in terms of new draft, such kind of cooperation.
I think it's possible, but we are still in Iraq. We are still young about these process. So it's
actually yes, but why I'm saying this because I've noticed that Iraqi standards are very old. I mean, since 60s, 70s.
I disagree in this particular thing. I disagree.
Sorry, but this is what I have. That's
I will tell you why.
Yeah.
I will tell you why. There are. I agree. At the first, I agree with you. It is old, but in the last 2 years, so many Iraqi food standards are updated. Are updated according to mostly according to Codex. As you know, Codex standards are accepted globally. So I think there is no problem with the Iraqi standards now. They are updated periodically.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more question.
Yes, it's just a comment about the discussion which has been regarding the new regulations. We have experienced that the companies which issue the COC, they are informed within 1 week. But again, the point here, as our colleague there mentioned, is that the lead time, the time for the companies to adjust themselves to comply with the regulation, which, as you mentioned, is 3 months, it's not enough. Because we all know that some big companies, sometimes they have shipments coming to Iraq, and it takes 2 to 3 months to arrive. So this period of 3 months, we hope that it can be adjusted to be at least 6 to 9 months, as in other countries. The other thing, as my colleague here mentioned, is that is there a possibility that big companies and manufacturers have cooperation with the Iraqi standards to have a committee where they meet, for example, each 1 month to discuss what's going on regarding the regulations, what other regulations are under amendment, so that we can give feedback as industry to the Iraqi regulators.
What's the question?
So
the question is that, is it
the
possible?
first one or the second one?
Is it possible to increase this lead time instead of 3 months to be 6 to 9 months? And
yes, I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
I know in Iraq you do publish or announce when you have any new legislation in the local media, but as a food industry available out of Iraq, we don't have access to the local media, so we don't know exactly what's going on. And dealing with the COC issuance, let's say, companies like Vero Veritas and others, not all of them really updated with the legislation. So is there any way really to look at this matter and review the chance to allow more lead time? And also, another question, currently you do engage when you develop legislation, you have committees, that's clear.
Yes.
We know that from the website. But in this committee, it's only limited to a specific stakeholder from the government and from the university, I know, as far as I know.
Yeah, from stakeholders.
Stakeholder. Is there any stakeholders from industry involved in these committees?
In these committees, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. So actually, there is a demand from really from the expert, I believe, who can really contribute to develop the legislation. So probably, maybe we can take this as a request in the future to consider it with your estimated organization.
There was a consideration like this to involve the private sector in the legislation process. And I think it is a great opportunity to listen to the private sector about this.
Very good. All right, one more question, please, if you have.
Allow me to know the flexibility of COSC. In case we have Iraqi standard, local standard, and we have a new EU regulations or codex, what is the flexibility of COSC to accept that changes in the regulations on the spot? Because as far we know, from our experience with the shipments to Iraq, that it's stuck because it's not complied to the Iraqi standard itself. So if we prove that it's EU regulated or codex regulated, how long it will take you to change or to accept the change or to approve the shipments to be proceed to Iraq? Because as far I know as well, for all the accredited body like Bureau Veritas or SGS, is very is very strict to implement the conformity and also just to adopt the Iraqi local standards. So how far you accept to approve the shipment with the existing Iraqi local standards, which is not updated?
You mean the Iraqi standard is not updated?
Yes.
And there is some update in the Codex standard, right?
Yes. Yeah. What is the flexibility on this for cost to accept?
It's possible to accept the...
No, actually what we have experienced that Bureau Veritas or SGS or whatever, who is this accredited body in behalf of COSC, they are not very strict to implement the Iraqi standard, and they say, no, local standard is saying this, so it's not accepted to give you a COC.
But we sometimes receive some, from the inspection bodies, receive some, they want to do some changes, to do some changes in Iraqi standards according to some update in Codex standard. Okay. And they get their...
I don't know if somebody have this, sharing me in this one, because we are really have some experience in this one, and really we are suffer a lot to release the shipments based on these situations. So we need just a slot where we can find flexibility for COSC to accept on the spot the change that EU is updated and the local standard is not anymore update. So please, just to be a little bit.
Okay, Mazen. To answer you, I have our expert, Mr. Nabil. He will give you some insight about the process. Mr. Nabil, he can answer in Arabic, and I will help try to
Mr.
share
Nabil, he explained to me very easy. If it is a certain difference between the new legislation in the Codex and what exists in the Iraqi standards, that's maybe it will need a waiver, and he need to apply direct to the central lab or the central quality network. So they need to have direct contact and request a waiver, and he will take copy from the waiver to Bureau Veritas or other company from the approved 4 companies, and after that it will be part of their documentation to release the shipment. Is that clear?
That's really very helpful to have waiver. So you have this process, but you need somebody to go there and...
Yes, apply it as a waiver, and he wrote very clear, I have this shipment which have these new things, very clear message, okay? The Iraqi standard doesn't have this part on it, it's not updated, but it is in the Codex. They are going to study this. So, but not everything in the Codex they are going to apply it. Maybe it's wrong, or it is not halal, or so they are going to study it and accept it or give a waiver based on their study. Okay, part of this letter or approval, it will be returned back, and you will attach it with the Bureau Veritas documentation, so that it will let the shipment to be released in Iraq. I think that's very clear.
My question is, these companies who apply to get certain approval, and maybe this problem is not only for this company, it's for more than one company. You give approval, but this approval is exclusive for the company who applied, so you make special cases. But what's the possibility that when you make this justification to be extended to the whole category? So if there is similar product, they can use this modification for similar product.
I didn't get the...
Yeah, his point, Mr. Nabil highlighted that if you have a problem in specific parameter or clause in the Iraqi standard, because maybe it's old, if you substantiate this with a reference and you applied for an exemption from Iraqi standard, this exemption will be issued, let's say, for X company, for a specific company. It will not be for benefit for another company who have the same concern. For example,
يعني تعتمدوا مواصفات السبيسيفيكيشن for certain product. هالمواصفات تبع منتج معين تعتبر مرجعية لهذا المنتج، بس هذا الشيء لا ينسحب على باقي المنافسين. يعني certain brand.
أستاذ إياد، في بعض المشاريع الخاصة نعطيها كمتطلب فني للشركة. احتمال هذا المتطلب الفني يصير كمتطلب عام لكل المنتجات. في بعض الحالات نعطي متطلب خاص، إذا ماكو منتجات أخرى يصير متطلب خاص، بس احتمال المتطلب الخاص يصير متطلب عام توزع على الشركات الفاحصة لتطبيق على كل الإرسالات الداخلة للقطر العراقي. ملاحظة أنه المواصفات الشركات الفاحصة في اتفاق مع الحكومة العراقية الالتزام بالمواصفة القياسية العراقية بكل بنود المواصفة القياسية العراقية، وكذلك المتطلبات الفنية الخاصة لكل منتج. الشركات الفاحصة العاملة في كل أنحاء العالم إلى عقد رسمي مع الحكومة العراقية الالتزام بالمواصفة القياسية وعدم الحياد عن هذه المواصفة. وهناك في مقر نفذ الحدودية تسحب نماذج من النماذج الداخلة للمنافذ الحدودية وتفحص في مقر الجهاز لمدى التزام هذه الشركات بالشهادة المنحت لهذا المنتج. وهناك عقوبات قاسية لهذه الشركات اللي تمنح شهادة غير مستوفية للبضاعة. وعندنا مشاكل كثيرة مع الشركات العاملة من البي في، وكان عندنا شركة مع SGS كان عندنا مشكلة وانسحب من العقد مالنا. هسه في العراق في العالم 4 شركات فاحصة، SGS، بي في او عفوا بي في وكونتكنا وتوفي وبارتك.
Hi. Actually, it's not a question. I just need to share some information which we have learned already from the past 2 years. When we start already dealing with obtaining the COC certificate, we face a lot of problems at the beginning. By the time goes for the last 2 years, things have been implemented in a perfect way and things have been changed. All the questions which have been answered and asked already at the beginning, we have faced on reality at the beginning. The best advantage here and the solutions for everything, that if any company would like to export anything to Iraq, the company itself has to register the products in full and clear the technical file at the beginning with the authorized agents, which used to be before Bureau Veritas alone, till they have licensed already another 3 companies after removing already SGS for violating already the things. We've discovered already that if we have a list of products, like 10, 15 products, and right now we have 1 shipment for 5, if in case that, and I'm requesting for COC certificate immediately for the 5 products which I would like to export, it might be cleared. And then in reality, after 1 year, I will face the problem with another product. So in technicality, it has to be cleared completely. If we face any problem in terms of difference between codex and the standards for the Iraqi, it has to be earlier noticed and requested, and the request for change of any standard, it has to be through the authorized agent. They have to file the claim for yourself, and they have to request already the committee to look for the standard itself to be changed. And the only problem or the constraint which we face in the problem in the early, that the committee was existing once a week or once a month, something like that. So the problem that if you have a ready shipment and your product are not complying with the Iraqi standard, you have to dismiss the shipment because you will not be able to ship it without the COC at all. And they will not be able also to help you to send it there under any condition or under any special approval, because all of this licensed company, they are keen about their license more than shipping your products. So they will follow the standard literally. If there is any difference between your product and the standard, they will not accept already to issue the certificate unless they amend the standard. But we have discovered already that the standard is available and is applicable for changeable in terms that you convince the committee that it can be changed, because the standard came in a very quick time, and then gradually for the last 2 years, it was subject for changes upon the request.
Thank you very much for this sharing with us this experience. That's really summarized really the whole story about the COC. And any more question? I have our colleague over here.
Mendelis.
Thank you again. Actually, it's the same point as my colleagues highlight. If we have like new regulations in EU, okay, which is not in Codex, or we don't have any updates in Codex, are you accepting EU legislation? Do we need to submit a request for this? For this standard?
You need to submit a request at first.
Okay, and it should
to study the matter you are referring to.
Okay, and how long it might take? I mean, to have it as a standard, as Iraqi standard.
It depends. I don't have exact time.
Okay, but in the beginning we have to submit the standard.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the organisers, and I'd like, and on behalf of yourselves, I'm sure, would like to thank the sponsors today and for yesterday. And they are the Emirates Ministry of Economy, the Government of Dubai, Dubai Municipality, of course, and the GSO, who have been really big supporters and contributors to the last couple of days. Emirates Transport, of course, and we have also Al Madina Logistics. The corporate response silver sponsors, Kuehne Nagel, Titan Containers, DP World, and Location Solutions. Please give them a round of applause for supporting this commercially. So a couple of words and wrap up. Again, you know, I've been to many conferences over the last few years, and this has certainly been one of, if not the best. I really appreciate the fact that everybody's been so collaborative and prepared to contribute. I think one of the highlights for me has been the openness and honesty between government and regulatory authorities and the commercial sector. I think that's quite unusual in a lot of the places in the world that I work in, and it's really refreshing to see, especially in a region that has some of the world's fastest growth, some of the greatest opportunity in the world. And clearly, you know, an Australian Prime Minister, before she got voted out, recently said this is the century, the next century is the century of Asia. I have my doubts about that. I really do think that the Middle East region, North Africa, the Manasseh region is where the growth is going to come from. That's where the exciting economies are. And I think the diversity of the group that we've had here today and yourselves, it really underlines the enormous complexity of issues, the great opportunity, the depth of talent and ability historically, and the new talent and the new ideas that we've got in this region. So again, on behalf of the organisers, it's been a fantastic forum. We've covered one heck of a lot of ground in a day and a half. I'm sure you're ready for a feast next door. So please congratulate yourselves for coming, and we'll look forward to sharing food and drink with you next door. Thank you very much for coming.